What is up, everybody? Welcome to another Wingin podcast. Jack, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How about yourself?
I am doing good. Now, people, Shadow should be joining us sometime later. Andre had the night off, taking care of adulting things, so we're letting him have the night off. So it's just gonna be me and Jack for the time being, and Shadow should show up hopefully a little bit later. So this week in foolishness, well, not this week in foolishness, but we got some stuff to talk about. And you know what? We're gonna start this one off with the $70 game debate.
Oof.
Okay, so here's the thing. I am 40 years old. I was born in 80. So when I was gaming in the 90s, it cost that much.
Yeah,
This ain't nothing new to me.
yeah,
Um, and so I think the issue now is people have gotten used to paying 49 and now 59 for games. The
hmm
problem is the games cost themselves have been going up and up and up and up. Now, I don't agree with a lot of this stuff. Like, I don't agree with Destiny being $500 million to make,
right,
but Bungie said that's how much it costs to make. Activision paid it.
right,
That was stupid. But because I will always say this: a video game should never cost as much as a movie to make.
right. Exactly. Especially if it's not gonna make movie returns.
Yeah, and most games, the video game industry for the longest time, and it's still kind of true today. You make your money over time. You don't make it all in the first two
Right.
weeks or the first month. You make it over time. A lot of these games make a lot of money in the first month, and they make nothing else after that.
Yep, that is
And
true.
so a lot of the smaller development houses, that's why you see all of them like either folding or getting bought up because they can't they can't sustain like that. That's why we lost Midway when everything converted to HD. That's why we lost Midway. We lost Acclaim. We lost a lot
hmm
of the mid tier game developers because it costs too much to make games.
Right.
Now, flip that. I don't think it costs too much for Nintendo to make their games because I think they because of how they do their games, it don't really cost as much for them.
Yeah.
But for other people because they're I don't want to say their vision. I want to say their ambition gets way over what they can actually
Right.
do.
hmm
It goes, your the pay goes up. Now that's why we have a lot of DLC, a lot of microtransactions as well. DLC, you'll get like, oh, we got. That's why you. What was it like? I want to say like 2-3 years ago, we used to get DLC trailers before the launch
Yep.
trailer.
Yep.
Y'all remember that?
That's exactly how I used to go. hmm
DLC trailers before the actual launch trailer of the game.
Yep.
And of course, everybody's favorite game company of all time, the game company that does it right and always thinks of the customer first, EA.
I had a feeling that's where you were going. I was like, let me hold off and see if he says somebody else.
It's EA, and EA had went on and bragged. I'm talking about straight up bragged about how much they made off microtransactions and DLC. I'm talking
Disgusting.
about bragged about it. And so everybody else jumped in on it. Now, the thing I knew this was gonna happen at some point because I'm like
Mhm.
these they're getting ridiculous to make. They're costing too much to make.
Right.
And once again, have you ever heard of a video game making $1 billion?
Nah, outside of close to it, maybe Grand Theft Auto, but you see how they're doing it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't. I haven't heard I haven't heard of a video game making Avengers Endgame or Batman Dark Knight money.
Right. Exactly. I see what.
I haven't heard of a video game making Star Wars Force Awakens money.
Right.
I've heard of them making X Men X2 United money. I have not heard of them making Deadpool 2 money.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've had this conversation before, to where you kind of look at the two sides of the coin. When you mention your bigger quote unquote AAA studios, which we also include Nintendo into that bunch, but we always segregate Nintendo because they kind of do
Their own
things a
thing.
little different. They do
Yeah.
their own thing. So, like we said, those companies make the big budget, big title like your Last of Us, your God of Wars, and the over the top stuff, the Just Cause threes, and all that other stuff that has a lot of explosions, very movie-like, very cinematic. And then Nintendo keeps it true to form as far as okay, we're gonna take a for everyone approach, create characters more cartoony, if you will, and kind of keep it at maybe like around 3-4 million on the budget, to where their titles tend to be evergreen behind that, which also ties into this whole $70 nonsense that was going on in Twitter. But like you said, if you're going to spend that much money on a game, which a lot of people fail to realize that includes the personnel that they hire, that includes the R&D, that includes the promotion, marketing, all that stuff.
And
So
A-list actors, if you get A-list
yes,
actors, you have to pay their rate.
exactly. So when you
People
say,
don't
okay, this
understand
game
that.
cost that much, even when they were like, oh well, Halo was in development for 8 years, even though they said that wasn't the case, it just got mentioned. But it was like 8 years and they spent 500 plus million and this game still ain't ready. I'm like, that means nothing. It's just they have that many people on hand and that much going on to where it's going to cost that much. I don't care how much your game costs. It doesn't mean that it's going to be done or be great in a certain amount of time. So when you look at the $70 price point, like you said, I'm 32, but I was still able to see those newspaper ads or either the marketing ads to where there was no consistent pricing. It was all over the place. It was scattered. So we actually are in a great position to where you can almost guarantee a game is going to be $60 when you go to when it's introduced to the market, to opposed to where okay, the cartridge game on the 64 that might run you about 70-80 bucks versus this game over here might run you only 40. It just fluctuates. But with the games going up to 70, I mean, I saw it coming because of, like we said, how much budget they put into these games. Like, it's a crazy amount of money for what they put into these games and get little to no return when you have, I think Nintendo, I can honestly feel like without microtransactions and without an online aspect to hold it up, Nintendo is the only company that has made evergreen titles, like a multiple evergreen titles.
Yeah.
Because
Smash Brothers?
Smash Bros. I mean, yeah, it has an online community, but it's not like, okay, well, we're gonna hold it up or keep it going just because of DLC. Like they could stop adding characters today, and that game will still hold up.
Mm-hmm.
Mario still holds up. Zelda still holds up. I mean, even we're talking about 64, GameCube, they're still holding up. The Wii, Mario Kart Wii is still selling, which is nuts. That's
makes
why
no sense.
it makes no. But I guess because
no
the whole
sense.
China aspect of it.
Yeah. But it still don't make no sense.
It don't. So I mean, so when you look at it, unless if I'm a business person and I'm looking at the market, I get it. The Western side of gamers wants that realism. I want to shoot somebody. I want to be in this apocalyptic stuff. I get it, but you're not going, like, there's not a big enough group to make a purchase for me to suffice putting that type of money into it. To where I'm looking at Nintendo, the company that continues to get dogged out by adult gamers, to where they said themselves, a couple of million that they put into the game, and they continue to get returns and never have to drop the price of their game. Mm-hmm. And I've never equated Nintendo not dropping their price to being anti-consumer, which tied into this, because it was like, if my product is still selling, why would I then like drop the price on it permanently? Not just for a sale, but permanently. That makes no sense.
Now you understand why most of these people would never be good businessmen.
Right. I mean, it's the writing's on the wall for sure. But like I said, the only reason why they asked for it is because they see Sony and Microsoft do it, but not even paying attention. They have to do it because the game is no longer selling at the rate it was at the $60 mark. Mm-hmm. That's just what it is.
So they have to drop it. They have to drop it at intervals, or they have to like make their like. And I do understand, because PlayStation have the PlayStation Hits line. Mm-hmm. They put them on. I can understand that, because they used to have that. I forgot what Nintendo's was.
Was it Selects?
I think it was Selects, and they still have those.
Yeah, they still have them.
Yeah. So I mean, you probably can find them somewhere, but I think that's a little bit different, honestly. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, from a business standpoint, I mean, business wise, it's the same reason why people always complaining about getting Wii U ports. Dude, right. The Wii U sold 13.5 million units. The Switch is at 65 plus and growing monthly.
Yes.
Why wouldn't I put the best selling stuff on the Switch, on the Wii U port it to the Switch and just make extra money, because just because you and your friends have it don't mean 50 plus million other people do. They don't have it.
Right.
So from a business
Yep.
standpoint, if Bayonetta 2 sold well on the Wii U, why wouldn't I put it on the Switch?
Right.
If Mario Kart sold well on the Wii U, why wouldn't I put it on the Switch?
Because there was very few that did well on the Wii U. So I
Yeah.
can only imagine what it's gonna do on the Switch. Like,
So, and even if you don't, let's just say, just for argument's sake, let's just say only 20 million people buy Bayonetta 2.
right.
13 million Wii U sold means that 20 million is more than that.
Exactly.
Everybody
wins. And to kind of tie in a little bit more into the conversation that kind of came up, to where people were feeling that $70 should not be based on just straight up, okay, my game's gonna be 70 because everybody's doing 70. But they feel like it should be based on the quality. Now, I don't know how you're going to judge that before you play the game. I have no idea how you plan on doing that, but I mean, congratulations if you can, because I can eyeball a game all day. But
it's subjective.
Right. So I mean, if you say my game is not worth 70, but then there's another group that says it's worth 70, I'm gonna take my chances and go highball and then lower it down gradually and then let you pick it up then. But I'm not going to lowball myself in the beginning, because I cannot in turn increase it, because that seems anti-consumer if I increase the price of my game after I've already released it at a lower end.
I mean, you'd have to have set criteria if you're going to do that. Like
Right.
you have to be, okay, this game has to be at least 60 hours, at least.
Right.
Has to have this, and it, and nobody's going to do that.
And even if you did, you're going to screw yourself, because let's think about RPGs. Those can literally get into hundreds of hours. Yeah. So at that point, you're literally about to price yourself out of an RPG game that's probably going to be well over $100.
Yeah, I mean, just perfect example, Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yes, the perfect example.
You can beat it. You can beat it in 50 hours. You can beat it in 55 hours. You can beat it in 55 hours.
Yeah.
I promise you, it's gonna take you longer than that. I promise you, because you're gonna start exploring stuff, and you're not gonna stop. Another example, Breath of the freaking Wild. You can beat Breath of the Wild in 40 hours. Hell, you can beat Breath of the Wild in 3 hours. Yeah. Hell, but I currently have 500 hours in there, because I just be going around. I'm still finding stuff 3 years later, 3+ years later. I'm still finding stuff
empty and nothing to do.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay, Say that while you getting chased down by a daggone Guardian Stalker and run right into a damn Hinox. Have fun.
Or even looking at Twitter or YouTube and seeing all these different videos of different things that people are doing within this game still to this day.
Not on the PC modding, on the Switch.
On the Switch. It's nuts. But I mean, for this, I don't know, this argument, I mean, I can understand some of it, because when you look at the $70 price mark and you kind of see how these companies kind of have been half-assing their games, that's where you run into issues. Because I look at something like Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk is a hot mess. But at the same time, y'all were smart enough to go and buy that doggone game, and it got all this profit back within the beginning, and they didn't show you anything about the game. So, I mean, you kind of set the table for them to do what they're doing.
And let's not act like, and gamers need to take some accountability on that.
Very much so.
Y'all kind of the problem for this, because one, they kind of let it slip that they were having issues.
Yeah.
And everybody like, no, we want the game now. Okay.
But this game in particular, I don't know where the appeal came from, because even for, like, I follow gaming, but Cyberpunk, the moment that it got announced, I was like, okay, cool, whatever. But then as time came closer for it to release, I had friends that rarely game that were like, man, you gonna pick up that Cyberpunk? I was like, they haven't shown you anything, so why would I pick up something that you haven't shown me the game? And then even when they were showing their little tidbits and pieces on their own YouTube page, it still wasn't enough for me to warrant purchasing a game. Like, you literally are trying to sell me a game sight unseen. Like,
that's one of those games that they really should have had a direct for.
Yeah.
if they wanted people to be. But if you didn't have it ready to go, you can't do that.
Right.
Because I promise you, I know one game that's probably gonna have one. Halo. When
Oh
Halo
yeah,
Infinite
Halo.
gets ready, they
They're
gonna
gonna play the
have
hell out of that.
YouTube, the Microsoft YouTube channel gonna have like a dev dive or some kind of direct simply for
Yep.
that, because they gonna show you why you should buy that game.
Yep. What directions they changed, what they
Yeah,
approved on, because y'all came out and were vocal about it.
yeah,
So they're gonna say, hey, look, this is the tweaks we made. We listened. So now check out this other stuff we got on here as well. And that's what's going to get the appeal and the attention going towards Halo. Not like it wasn't there anyway, because they literally could have released Halo as it was, and it still would have sold.
yeah. Because
People would have been pissed about it.
yeah, and they were pissed about 5. They still played it. So, so I
Right.
mean, uh, look, as long as they don't take out that grappling hook, I'm good. Because
Yeah.
I had combo dreams about that freaking grappling hook. I'm like, oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. So,
Right.
yeah. So let's talk about a little bit about let's go from bad to even worse. Bowser's Fury. It came out that Bowser's Fury is 3 hours to beat, 6 hours to 100%. Uh, bruh. I don't know about you, but I got a bad feeling this ain't gonna go over too well.
I think this is gonna be another Pokemon situation. I mean, because honestly, I don't know. I don't know of too many DLCs that really give you that much. I
Only
guess.
one, well, the only one I know of is there are a couple of them, but the main one that they gave you a experience was Torn of the Golden Country.
Right, right, right.
Yeah,
But I mean, I don't know. Like for this game in particular, I'm surprised that Nintendo put this much effort into it because the other ports were kind of like, whatever. But for this one in particular, I mean, I could see if it was just Bowser Fury by itself, like sold separately.
yeah,
But
but
the
now
fact that it's
it's with it.
partnered, yeah, that's where I kind of give it that pass because I mean it's just like added on content.
Yeah,
And if you
yeah,
haven't played the main game, which there are changes, like Game Explain has shown, there's a lot of changes to that main game, especially when it's being sped up. Because if you didn't play the Wii U version, yes, it was very slow, it's a very slow game.
very
So now
slow.
that they've sped it up and then add some tweaks here and there, kind of boosting the graphics, and then gave you Bowser Fury on top of it. Yeah, there are gonna be people that complain about it, but at the same time, these would be the same people that if they do buy the main game, they weren't gonna 100% it no damn way. They just run
No,
through games just to say I beat it.
yeah, I mean, first of all, let's be honest. Everybody's gonna get Super Saiyan Cat God Mario.
Especially the post. That,
Akira Toriyama, please get paid for this. Please get paid for this. Please get a check for this.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. When they showed Super Saiyan Mario in a cat suit,
yeah,
and they showed Demise Bowser,
yeah,
I'm like, okay, dude, people were sold right then.
yeah. And the one other key thing that's in damn near every video game now, a photo mode,
Yeah.
like because
Well,
it ties so much into social media.
yeah, and the photo mode on Odyssey was actually not bad.
Yeah.
Because I was sitting there making phone wallpapers, and
Hmm.
so it wasn't that bad. But yeah, the photo mode, that Mario situational Mario games, they need photo mode.
Yeah.
Because
Hmm.
some of that stuff you do is crazy, and you like, yeah, I told you I did it.
Right.
you gotta prove it.
Hmm.
You gotta prove it. Because I mean, there's still some jumps in Mario Odyssey that I'm still trying to figure out how the hell these people made these jumps.
Man.
Because I can't make those jumps.
Right.
So that's usually my issue with that. But yeah, I honestly I think people are gonna like it. Of course, we're gonna have to wade through like 15 to 20,000 videos about how much people hate it,
Right.
and then it makes like 25 million. It sells like 25 million in a year, so
It, it's going to sell. I mean, that's going to be I mean, that's what we already know, but I don't know where the expectation for Bowser Fury would come from the most part, because honestly, I don't even think they expected it to be there.
No.
Everybody expected deluxe to be added onto it, some changes, and then the game get released. So
Yeah.
for this add-on to be there is kind of shocking for me.
Yeah, and once again, it goes back to what I said earlier: 13.5 million
Right.
versus 60. By the time it comes out, probably gonna be 70,
Right.
70 million plus. I mean,
Mhm.
you do the math.
This
Just
this
do-
is this is one I'll double dip on. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Because I mean I had this on my Wii U, and then not to mention, with the online aspect as well, to where you don't have to be local now.
Yeah, and the funny thing about it too is the only thing that 5-player aspect is gonna probably be. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna miss that a little bit if I do get it, but
Yeah.
I get it. We had to give up some stuff. I
Uh,
mean, it is what it is.
All I'm saying, take one more crack at the Wii U concept. Just one more.
Yeah, I
One
mean,
more.
please.
Like I said, I get it. I get it from a business aspect. If
Yeah,
it didn't work for me the first time, it's not gonna work the second time around. But I
I
don't
know a
know.
couple things that will me verse.
It will, but like I said, they definitely have to change the name. They have
Yeah,
to
they're
change the
gonna have
name.
to now. They're gonna have to. But
Yeah.
I think that system had so many features in it that people don't even talk about. And I'm looking at the Switch. I'm like, I like my Switch. Don't get me wrong.
Oh
I like
yeah.
my Switch. But to be honest, I will keep saying this as long as the Switch is around. The Switch is Nintendo's big FU to the gaming industry.
Yeah. Definitely.
It's the
Definitely.
FU.
You can see articles all day because I think I just saw one with Reggie talking about, the Wii U led up to the creation of the Switch. But for me, I don't know. It looked like it was more of a subtraction
Yeah,
from the
because they
Wii
took
U than
everything.
anything.
They took everything out of it that made the Wii U special, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I mean,
everything.
so everybody talks about these features of we need standard this and standard that. I'm like, yeah, but did you not know what you had? Did you even
Right.
have the system, or were you listening to IGN? Yes,
Yep.
IGN, because y'all did do hate pieces on that
Yeah.
console. Don't sit up and try to change that. Don't have revisionist history now when
Yep.
because Nintendo was in good graces. Now you want to sit up and say, oh, we always supported. No, you didn't. Jeff Keighley too.
I mean, everybody shitted on Keith.
Everybody did. I mean, game trailers used to run whole pieces have Jason Rubin on it. People, y'all know who Jason Rubin is? He used to run THQ before they had to go bankrupt,
Yep.
and he was complaining about it because he didn't want to have to buy his kids a Wii U. They should just be third party. When game trailers was trying to push that narrative, y'all remember that? Because I do. I'm
Oh
like,
man.
why would Nintendo go third party when they got more money in the bank, more cash on hand than the other two
Hmm.
gaming companies? They have more cash on hand.
All right.
Why would they go third party?
But even then, let's even entertain that thought that Nintendo went third party. Do you really think they would sell as much as they do now on these other consoles?
No, because number one, their games work with their system.
Right.
As much as people clamor for, I think like the party games like Mario Kart and Smash would because they would sell anywhere just
Right.
because that's the type of games they are. They would
Right.
just sell it. But Legend of Zelda ain't selling on Sony
Nah, not at all. No. Or Microsoft.
or Microsoft. It's
Nah.
not. Metroid is not going to sell on Microsoft with Halo right there. They're not going to. No, it's
Oh
not.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I didn't even
It's
think
not.
about that. Yeah.
Star Fox is not selling on Sony. Not when they got Ace Combat.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. If we're gonna keep it a buck, they're not. Fire Emblem is not selling on Microsoft on the Xbox console. It's not.
Yeah. It's not happening.
Pokemon will. Pokemon sell
Pokemon
anyway
gonna
now.
always sell.
Pokemon to sell on a watch.
But
So,
here's the main argument, and I want to try my best before we move on to debunk this because I've seen it so much and I've thought about it so much that I finally came up with an answer with it. So when you see the sales of the Switch, Nintendo's first party games, especially when it came down to the whole Animal Crossing thing of how fast it sold, the main argument, opposed to giving it credit, the main argument comes up, well, there's nothing else there to play. So they always list up the top AAA games that's on the other consoles, your Grand Theft Autos, your Call of Duties, your Maddens, blah, 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 right? So looking at both Sony and Microsoft's platform to where the top selling games is typically third party games. Even if those third party games were on the Switch, I feel like Nintendo's games will still outsell it, regardless of what's going on. So even if you're looking at Sony's platform, you're looking at Microsoft's platform with the type of games they have. Sony for the PS4 has a 100+ million install base, and you mean to tell me that you still can't outsell any Nintendo game? regardless of what the competition is, because if I get Last of Us 2, if I'm a Last of Us 2 type person, I don't give a damn about a Call of Duty. I don't give a damn about a 2K. I don't give a damn about a Madden.
No, you don't.
So that's what, because regardless of what Nintendo has on their platform or not, it's not going to interfere with what else is available. If I'm playing Mario, if I'm like, okay, I'm only into Mario, Call of Duty is not going to affect a Mario sale. It's not. It just won't. And that's literally the worst argument I always hear, is that because those other high selling games are not on the Switch, and that's why Nintendo's games sell at the rate that they do. That's not what happens. Like
here's a perfect example. February 2017, Horizon Zero Dawn comes out. Great game, beautiful. I'm talking about it is immaculate. I ain't even hating. They got they got the voice actors, they got the soundtrack, they got the gameplay. Cause y'all know I'm a gameplay guy.
Yeah, that
game is awesome. March 3rd, 2017, Breath of the Wild drops, and everybody forgets about freaking Horizon. Everybody does.
So where Zelda outsells the Switch, in a sense of there was more copies of the game sold than what was available for the Switch, which is nuts because people bought double. They bought, stuff on Wii U as well. Like it was nuts.
That's why people don't put games out around when even Metroid, and Metroid don't even sell like that. When Metroid dropped, when Metroid Prime 3 dropped, Halo moved from, because it was before they came out. Halo 3 was before they dropped. I want to say that August. I think Metroid Prime, I want to say they dropped in, was it September that year? I can't remember. I got to look it up. But 2007, they moved it.
Yeah. You have to respect
Microsoft moved Halo.
You have to respect it.
And once again, Metroid don't sell like that.
Nah.
I'm a Metroid fan. I love Metroid.
Metroid don't sell.
I'm telling you, Metroid don't sell like that. People now, if you listen to the Loud Minority, you would swear it does.
Mm-hmm.
If you listen to the Loud Minority, you would swear F-Zero sells.
Yeah.
No, actually, it don't. But you have people who swear up and down. They need to make one, and I'm like, but you just complained about Fast Racing Neo.
Yep, and Fast RMX. Yeah, this is nuts. But I mean, it goes to show there's a lot more talking than action. And when you look at the main franchises that Nintendo, the reason why Nintendo keeps releasing these games, and they changed them. The people that say that Mario and Zelda are the same as the last one are the ones that played the older games. They just look at it for what it is and like, oh, that's just the same old game. Okay, try that again. Because I mean, they just don't want to play it. They don't, because they know they'll like it if they actually play the game. That argument will die.
I mean, look at Splatoon.
Oh my gosh, that game! Oh,
all the arguing that happened.
Ooh, don't get me started.
And once people played one round, just one round, all the people complained about Wii Sports. I dare anybody crack open Wii Sports and start a bowling match, see what happened in your house.
Yeah. And
that game looks ugly.
Yeah.
It's ugly. I'm telling you, it's ugly. Crack open Wii Sports right damn now and watch how many people, old heads too, will jump on there and show you, because y'all young folks don't know how to bowl. You know how many times I heard that?
Yeah. And this is how much of an influence Wii Sports had, right? My mom does not game. That's not what she does. She don't buy them. She don't look into them. She don't do nothing with video games. My mom went out of her way. She kept my Wii, my original Wii when I got it, and she still plays Wii Sports. So much so that when she saw that there was a bowling game on my Oculus, she bought an Oculus just for bowling because she thought it was similar to Wii Sports bowling. That's how much power those type of games had, because it was appealing. It wasn't too many buttons. There's so many games that I'm like, okay, I can only press.
Yeah.
Really? Like I could tell my mom, look, A does this, B does this. She'll look at the controller and see all those buttons and I'm like, nah, I'm cool.
Yeah.
But the Wii was just movement. So she was like, okay, I get that. And the same thing with VR. She was like, all I gotta do is move. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Enough said. That being said, Shadow Fox, how you doing, man?
What's going on, gentlemen? Sorry to join this late. I'm a family man as usual. Play the Guile music if you need to, but
Yep. Well, you came right on time because now we're
Yeah.
about to talk about Hyrule Warriors, the Age of Calamity, selling 3.5 million units. Officially the best-selling Muso game ever. This article was on NintendoLife.com. And I'm just gonna say, Nintendo, y'all some liars. Why y'all lied? Why y'all lied? I would tell y'all why they lied, but it's spoilers and I don't want to have to cuss nobody out in the comments. Y'all lied. But
I mean,
3.5 million. Congratulations to y'all.
it isn't the first time they've done that with the story, so
Yeah, it ain't.
Right.
It ain't.
Right.
But congratulations to them and Koei Tecmo. Hey, great job. Game does have a few issues, but the game overall is a whole lot of fun. So I got to give them props. Did not expect them to sell no 3.5 million. I was spending about maybe 1.5 mil, maybe. It's a Muso game. At the end of the day, it's a Muso game. So,
but it's a Zelda game, and they build it as a sequel, well, a in-betweener to Breath of the Wild. And Breath of the Wild is what is it clocking? Is it clocking close to 20 yet?
It's clocking. It's clocking. It's clocking.
So we're talking about a game that's still in the top 20 every month, and it released in 2017. And it's not Mario Kart. Like how do you if you told me that a Zelda game was gonna do this well on a Nintendo system, I wouldn't believe you, especially knowing that Twilight Princess didn't even do that, and it was a launch game on Wii, which was the fourth best-selling console of all time.
Right.
So I would not believe that. But here we sit, and this, Breath of the Wild is, breaking all kinds of conventions right now, and the Switch in general is like I had to retweet a post earlier yesterday from Player Essence. He put up there just like 18 or 19 of the games in the top 40 in Japan. They're all Nintendo Switch games. They're dominating. So you can't. They're ruling the NPD. They're ruling in Famitsu. Famitsu scores. Dengeki sales in Japan. Like, what are you gonna do? UK, they're setting records. It's hard. It is hilarious to me of the people that are still in we cannot accept Nintendo is winning mode. It is like
it's horrible.
It is some cult type stuff that I'm not gonna say because that kind of leans in a political way. But
I just find it funny. I just find it hilarious at this point.
The denial is just. They're just like, well, but Nintendo doesn't have this, and it doesn't have the third. I'm like, wait, so you're gonna say it doesn't have the third-party games when it has the most third-party games of any Nintendo whole console in history as far as releases go? We're talking about franchises that have never graced this platform are there now, and they're coming in droves, and they're selling well when they come over. So I don't.
It's kind of hard when your development team all have Switches and they play them at break.
and so the thing is now you've shown all this did was illuminate that not only are fanboys in gaming press, they're also at the game publishers as well and the development houses, because at this point we've shown that the hardware is capable, especially for the resolution that it's set for 720p. You can't make a 720p game, real talk. You're gonna tell me what you have a modern game engine and you can't take it to put it on a newer CPU and make it run at 720p. Yes, you can. Right. Yes, you can. And every time we see games like Witcher, Doom Eternal, looking just like the damn PS4 version, the only difference is what? Textures in some cases, and the base resolution being 720p or 540p. Like, how do you... It does what it's supposed to do. It meets its resolution. PS4 doesn't even meet its resolution all the time. It's supposed to be 1080p 60. That's what it was dedicated for. Switch is like on the go, 720p or not, depending on battery, and it does that. So I don't. It's just so frustrating. So you have a Zelda game that's not a Zelda game. That's out all expectations out here. Now, granted, it was slotted as the holiday game for the year. Yeah. So I guess there's a little bit of, but if you got 3 million of those selling, I'm wondering how many well, we know how many Switches sold during the holidays. It's just, it goes without saying. At some point, we're going to hear an announcement that Switch is officially passed every other Nintendo home console except Wii. Within the next coming months. I'm pretty sure, if not in the next couple of weeks, their next financial briefing. If it's not at the tail end of this month or in the next couple of weeks, it'll
probably be in March.
March 31st.
It'll be in March. Yeah, it'll be March in the fiscal year. But the only reason why I said, like I said, it's a Muso game, because at the end of the day, I don't know why people hate on Muso games. Muso games are fun.
Yes.
Especially the ones that are based off animes and and other game franchises. Like the One Piece Pirate Warriors is a whole lot of fun.
Yes.
Even if you don't watch One Piece, and I understand why people don't watch One Piece, because that series has been going on forever. So if you don't know anything about the world, it will be weird, because Eiichiro Oda he's kind of weird, but he's awesome at the same time, but still weird. So it'll throw you off a little bit, but the game is fun. So and they don't sell like this. So and One Piece has a fan base.
Oh yeah,
One Piece fan base is ridiculous.
Yeah,
and they're selling across all platforms, and they don't hit this. And Hyrule Warriors only came out on the Switch.
Well, I think the one test to it is the simple fact that had there not been a Breath of the Wild, I don't think this would have sold the way that it did. Because when you look at the direction, when you come and you tell me, okay, here's Breath of the Wild, I enjoyed the hell out of Breath of the Wild. Then you tell me there's a sequel coming, but I'm going to let you participate in the war that happened that we didn't go into full detail about in the main game. That's what's going to draw people in. I knew people that was like, okay, I know the game at certain points dips pretty bad, but the simple fact that you're telling me I can participate in this war that I saw only bits and pieces of in the main game, you got me sold.
And play as champions.
Exactly. So then, I mean, I played tons of Muso games. I played tons of Dynasty Warrior games, and everybody always attribute them to being just hack and slash games. But there's more to it than just that if you really play the game. But I think where, you know, Hyrule Warriors and also Persona Strikers really do it a little, they put a little twist on it. Like, they don't leave it just copy and paste Dynasty Warriors, let me just put a skin of this game on top of it. They really put their own little spin on it to give it an appeal and put it in that world, kind of the same way that, you know, Sakurai does with Smash. Like, we talked about this before with Smash. He could easily say, okay, here's a new character, but this character has Mario's moveset. It's just he has a skin to it. But
he don't do
that. He really goes into that world. So when I look at, you know, Age of Calamity and looking at Persona Strikers, which is coming pretty soon, if I'm not mistaken.
February 23rd, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
So now you look at those two games, they're really in, you know, the Zelda world, and then you're really in the Persona world, Persona 5 world. So it kind of gives you a different feel than just let me go here, beat up 1,000 dudes this way, and then, okay, I'm finished with the mission.
Congratulations. Congratulations all around. So I brought this next topic up just because I thought it was hilarious, because I still play this game, and that's Street Fighter 5. Now, if you know anything about the Street Fighter 5 situation, it was a fiasco at the beginning.
Yes.
I've been there since day one. Yes, it was a fiasco at the beginning. I am not finna lie to y'all. It was a fiasco at the beginning. But Capcom kind of righted the ship, and they were able to get in. The game was always fun from a gameplay perspective, but the features and ads and all that stuff, they dropped the ball on that.
Right.
So my question to y'all is, should third-party games like Street Fighter, like Mortal Kombat, like Samurai Showdown, like King of Fighters, should they ever be exclusive to one console? My answer is no. They should never be exclusive. They should. Now I know about Street Fighter 5. Sony fronted the check. I also know it's on PC, but it's not on anywhere else. Like, you can't get it on Xbox, even though it's on PC. You can't get it on Xbox, and you can't get it on Switch. So that's what I mean. Should they ever be exclusive to just one console? I'd say no.
I'm gonna agree with you, but I also have a devil's advocate take.
Yeah,
that's
what I was saying.
So
you're talking about your devil's advocate take is the size of the check.
Well, no, not that, but they can also be good. if they have good intentions.
Right.
So Dead or Alive 3 took advantage of everything the Xbox could do good. And to this date, that game still plays very well on the original Xbox. You could kind of say the same about Dead or Alive 4, but at that point we had gotten to engines being scalable again, so really that game could be played anywhere. But in particular, that game ran very well on the original Xbox, and I want to say the same thing about Soul Calibur on Dreamcast. So if you take the time and you focus on the strengths of that console and you try to make a full package game and just say, hey, look, for $50, you get all of this. And we know it's a fighting game and you could beat it in like 10 minutes, but if you beat it with all these characters, you get all these different stories. And if you do these other modes, you get all this other stuff. So it doesn't look like you wasted $50 just to play 1v1 for 10 matches.
Right.
So I think it can be done. It's just the mindset of quote unquote AAA third party developers has to go back to the way that it was way back then. And I don't think that's going to happen anymore. I think we've already gotten to the point where, you know what, we have 50 million studios around the world and we want to share assets and all this, and nobody's doing consistent project management across the board to make sure this is a cohesive product. You can clearly tell through a lot of these third party games we've been seeing lately, all the Assassin's Creeds, what has happened to Street Fighter, what almost happened to Killer Instinct, like the ball is being dropped somewhere because nobody's sitting down and saying, instead of hiring playtesters, let's play it ourselves and see if it fits what our vision originally was. Yep. So unless that type of attitude changes, I'm going to agree with you and say it's always going to be a bad deal. They should look at the project from the beginning to be either quote unquote for PC or for whoever is going to be the lead platform and plan on porting it across the board so they're fair to everybody. Because if you're shipping this across multiple consoles, you don't want to ship a bum project across 4 platforms because you want to make money. And the first thing that's going to happen is everybody's going to say it's trash, and you don't want that. And that's going to give you kind of the kick in the boot or kick in the butt, if you will, to do a good job. But I think if third parties can work as a quote unquote second party project with a console manufacturer, they can come up with something good too. They just have to. The current third party mindset is not going to be compatible with that. So that's kind of my devil's advocate, kind of still supporting you.
Or they can just hire Masahiro Sakurai as a tester. Oh, they probably don't do that.
He's different.
Very different.
And then on top of that, he's gonna beat everybody in the office, and that's just gonna piss everybody off.
Yes. Right. Yes. Now, he looks at code while they're writing the game. He's like, well, I could play this way since you wrote this line of code here. It's all bad.
I'll agree with you guys in saying no with my own asterisk. And the only asterisk I would say is if your franchise is dying and you like, okay, well, we need to focus on just one console to see if we can get some type of leverage back and just focus on this instead of trying to cast it across the whole field. Let's just focus on it. If you see that people are getting into it and like, okay, well, we'll love that on our console and we love this game and blah, 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 you can either choose to port that game then, or either you can just say, okay, the next one, everybody's getting it because now we've kind of gotten what we want to do when we see everybody likes it. Because you run into a host of issues when you come with a new idea or you're trying to refresh an IP and you're trying to put it on everything. Because, I mean, you look at games now to where currently the situation we're in now, you have to release on PC, Stadia, Switch, Xbox One, like consoles, the series consoles, the PS4 and the PS5.
Yep.
That's a lot.
And Epic and good old games. No.
I'm about to say, even if you want to get into that, I mean, you have a lot going on. So when I look at Street Fighter 5, yes, you're right. It was a hot mess in the beginning. And Killer Instinct, I never thought in a million years I'll see Killer Instinct ever again. So not to mention that went to a whole different company to even do. When I saw that documentary that, when Microsoft purchased Rare, they didn't want them to touch any serious types of games. Like they had ideas for serious games, but Microsoft was like, nah, y'all gonna do these over here. We need more E for everyone games. So that's what y'all gonna do because we saw y'all do that with Banjo.
Yeah.
So that's how, Double Helix ended up with Killer Instinct opposed to Rare. But I don't know. That's where I would say that'd be the only thing. If somebody's giving you that check kind of in like the Bayonetta fashion, to where it's like nobody on these other consoles bought Bayonetta.
Yeah.
It didn't even come to the Wii. It went to the 360 and PS3. Nobody bought it. So now when it comes to PS2, now we're getting death threats because it's not coming. But y'all didn't buy the shit when we released the
Yep.
original one. So Nintendo put the check up, and so now that's where we're gonna release it. Now everybody claims that they like it. Should they release Bayonetta 3 on multiple consoles? I think Nintendo owns a part of it now, so they really can't.
They can't. They can't.
So,
They can't.
so
And even if they did, that'll be Nintendo's call, kind of like how Microsoft
Exactly.
does with
with
releasing
Banjo
some of their exclusives.
and Minecraft, yeah. So I mean that's just what it is. Because even now I'm looking at an article to where they Platinum says Astral Chain is fully Nintendo's now.
Yeah, it was theirs.
So-
The end of last year, 2020.
Jesus.
They're
So
slowly
that's-
absorbing Platinum. They just
Right. They just gotta fully get them. But that's the thing though. When you want to put out a game and you want to be ambitious, it's sad to say the Sony and Microsoft platforms don't really absorb it like that.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
And that's
if
the problem.
If Sony was smart back in the day, they would have absorbed all of Tri-Ace and Square when they
Yes.
had the opportunity, but they didn't.
Yes.
So now we got.
I
these
thought
little-
they did.
We got
like,
Brownie Brown, we got Monolith,
well,
and
that was the funny thing about it, because back in the day, you would have swore Square and Enix, because it was SquareSoft and Enix.
Yeah.
They weren't together at the time. You could have swore Sony had bought them.
I thought they had them.
They
Yeah.
didn't. I'm like, they did, but all their stuff was exclusive until OG Xbox came, and that's when they were like,
Yep.
hold on, Microsoft gave us a check?
Yep.
Mhm.
How much?
they're like, oh, we'll put Dragon Quest on Xbox. Like, whoa.
Yeah, because I mean, you look at it
Whoa.
now. People
Whoa.
still up in the air about Persona 5 or the Persona series. Like, is there some under the table deal between them and Sony right now?
It
Because
is.
it has
They
to be.
they pay for exclusivity when they do those kind of deals, and that was the same thing with because at one point in time Microsoft was lobbying for Street Fighter V, and
Right.
Capcom was still on a contract, and there's nothing that they could do, and
Mhm.
but which is hilarious because Microsoft has Sega under contract, so Phantasy Star can't leave any platform but PC and Xbox right now. So
Well, the funny thing about, to be completely honest with the whole Fantasy Star, it's better served on Xbox because Xbox has clearly the superior online.
yes, the communication is down. It's fluid there.
Yeah, so it's one of those situations where I understand why people could probably be upset about it, but I want you to think about the game of Fantasy Star and what you're supposed to do with it.
Right.
It makes sense for it to be on Microsoft because they have the better online,
Yeah.
hands down.
Mhm.
Period. If it ever does go down, that thing is back up in 24 to 48 hours.
Yep.
I've never seen it down longer than 48 hours.
Yeah,
Never.
yeah.
Put it on
So-
PlayStation though.
Yeah. So I mean, to kind of go back to your main question, when you think about Street Fighter V, I don't know what happened with that.
I
but
have an idea.
Okay. Because I never thought, like, for me, if the moment I saw that it was like, oh, Street Fighter V is only on PlayStation, I instantly thought, okay, here come Microsoft with Dead or Alive. Like, I instantly thought that because the 360, that was kind of like with the main fighting game, Dead or Alive for the 360.
Yeah, better
So
line.
I'm like, oh, I thought for sure they were coming with that, but nothing happened. So I'm like, okay, well, that doesn't seem to be a competing thing. So why did Capcom do this?
They already had Killer Instinct in the bag. So for them,
Yeah.
they felt their FGC contribution, if you will, was them having that, and then all the other games were third party. So if Samurai Showdown gets re-released or whatever, it's gonna be on Xbox. And they're like, well, let Sony spend their money. We have more money than Sony. Let them do it.
Yeah.
So they pay for this game, and because of all the hype that other games were getting at Evo, to include Smash Bros. In at the time, they felt rushed to do it because they not only saw that Smash Bros. For Wii U was being shown prominently, there was another one coming in the works at some point in time for Switch. So hey, we got to get a fighting game out for our next generation platform, and they end up rushing it, and you see the result of that. So it's just one of those things that I like. Project management, man, 101. Like nobody was checking the milestones on this game.
I hated that class. God, I hated project management. Jeez, I hated that class.
It's important.
That being said, it's funny that y'all bring up Bayonetta because that's one of my topics because we got 2 more to go.
Segue.
This is gonna be this is gonna be a real quick one for me. Because I'm actually gonna do a Let's Talk on the gaming channel about this particular topic, but the Bayonetta 3 situation. So there was a interview with Hideki Kamiya, and Kamiya said a line that basically they translated it as people should just forget about Bayonetta 3 for the moment, and so when it comes, you'll be excited about it.
Yeah.
He did not say that the game was friggin' canceled.
That's mistranslation again.
That's mistranslation. And here's what I will say to people that got up in arms. This is why you can't really go by American or Westernized gaming sites or press when they do these, because sometimes they mistranslate on purpose so they can get the clicks.
Yep.
They do it on purpose to get. They're not held to no standard. They do it on purpose. I remember because I'm a wrestling fan as well. Kairi Sane at I think summertime last year left WWE, went back to Japan.
Yep.
There was an article that came out and they tried to make it seem like, I can't remember what the actual quote was, but it basically was saying that she didn't like her time in WWE. That is not what she said, because the thing is, they didn't know she knew English.
Oh wow.
So she came out and but she came out and she had to set the record straight. But the reason why they did it was because they're trying to get clicks. They need people to come see read the article. So sometimes you have to take that with a grain of salt. And I'm just like, Kamiya wouldn't say that. And Kamiya's been saying, look, man, it's going well. I fully believe that game was probably supposed to come out last year, but because of the pandemic, everybody had to push stuff back. Right. I would not be surprised if that game comes out this spring or this summer, the way Nintendo does it. The Nintendo will drop a 15-minute. Oh, we're just gonna talk about a few stuff that's coming out this year. Oh, and by the way, if you want the digital version of Bayonetta 3, buy it now.
Yeah, and so Platinum, they do. You've seen the tour of their. You've seen the videos of the tour of their studios.
Yeah,
they do a lot of close collaborations. So a lot of their ideas are bounce off each other literally in real time. So I don't know how well they've adjusted to doing anything remote or anything of that nature. And then a lot of their developers, like, they literally sleep at their desks. So I really think it might have been an issue. It might have really halted a lot of progress at their studio because
everybody had to figure it out. Yeah. Everybody. This is not one of them situations where you have, just this one company had to figure it. No, the entire globe had to figure this out. So yeah, and I said this to Jack before we went live. If you one of them people that was sitting up there saying, "Oh, I just want to buy the Switch for Bayonetta 3," you are an idiot.
So people were saying that about the Wii U for Bayonetta 2, and I'm like,
they definitely did.
So you're gonna spend that much money for one game. That you are bad at investments. Don't ever try to play the stock market. You are horrible at investments.
Xenoblade Chronicles X looked that good.
Oh, it looked
in the original trailer. It looked good.
Nothing looks good for one game. No, nothing looks good for one game.
Close. Like I said, that's why I say I have like a 5-game rule, and the games have to be out. Like there is no, it's coming. It has to be on the shelf for me to go pick it up today for me to even invest in a console.
Yeah, because gaming is an investment. Gaming is an investment. Whether you want to believe it or not, gaming is an investment. It's a hobby. It's an investment because you're investing your time. So you're telling me you're willing to spend $300 to $500, sometimes $600, sometimes $700, depending on if you got to buy controllers and stuff on a console for one game.
I tell people all the time that I spent $540 to play Killer Instinct, but I knew eventually that I would play Halo and other stuff on Xbox. But really, Killer Instinct was the big draw. Like, I need this like right now in my veins.
Now I understand that. Like me, I'm a Zelda fan. I'm always gonna have a Nintendo console because I'm getting Zelda and Metroid.
Right.
But they got Smash, they got Mario Kart, they got Fire Emblem, they got they got a trillion other stuff that I can get, or whatever the hell other crazy Splatoon themed, crazy apocalyptic thing they gonna do.
Splatoon 3.
Yeah, like whatever crazy this Nintendo got up their sleeve this week, that they gonna put out. So I'm never gonna just like spend that much money for one game. That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, if Destiny FOMO sells me her Virtual Boy, I'll play Red Alarm and WarioWare That's about as close as I get to 2 or 3 titles to play. But
Right.
that's
I
as
don't
close
know.
as I get.
And this is another thing. This is why I hate when companies do this, when they put these teaser trailers out, because I hated when they did that Adobe Photoshop job for Metroid Prime 4 and
Right.
didn't have no freaking all they played was the frigate tune from freaking Prime, and they put a logo with Adobe Photoshop on it and said, "Hey, we got this game coming out." Don't ever do that.
Well, this
And
this comes back to what we were talking about with
knew at
the
that
players
point
taking
that Retro
responsibility.
was like, what? When they saw that, they were like,
Yeah. But that's where we were talking about earlier, to where gamers have to take responsibility for their play in this whole situation, because y'all harassed Nintendo about Metroid for years. So to get y'all to shut up, here is, like you said, that Adobe Photoshop screen that we have to put up here. It was the same thing when it came down to Bayonetta. It, like, they do it to get you to shut up now, the way that Kamiya is doing it now. If you don't know what type of person he is, to where he blocks people for the hell of it. Like, he doesn't want to hear it. He don't want to hear nothing stupid. He don't want you to bring nothing stupid to his platform. So the simple fact that people keep asking every year on year on year on year,
Every month,
every week, like, where's Bayonetta 3? I'm with him. Don't even think about the game.
I get blocked just for retweeting them. I've been blocked 3 times by him. It's hilarious. I take it as a badge of honor.
But people ask to be blocked. That's the weird part. But that was even an incentive for Wonderful 101. Pay this much to get blocked by Kamiya. This is wild. But you know, it's kind of like a Steve Aiko thing, to where people like getting cakes thrown in their face. But hey, it's an appeal thing. But for me, looking at Bayonetta 3, looking from that trailer, it confused the hell out of me, because I'm like, dang, is she dead? Like, what's going on? So now I'm into it, but at the same time, I understand, because while everybody's focused on Bayonetta 3, Astral Chain came out of nowhere.
And Astral Chain is fire. I'm going back through it now. I'm like, this game is fire.
I can't help but think that's just experimental.
Exactly.
That's just
experimental. Yep.
So, like, anybody remember, like I say all the time, you can see the progress of somebody developing a game, based on a previous project. I'll probably say this a lot, but product number 3 that Capcom made, which was platinum then at the time anyway, Clover Studio, what have you. So they made product number 3. The core aspect of that game was killing an enemy in a certain amount of time, and you got a bonus for continuing the combo up. That ended up being the main gameplay aspect when you replay the levels in Resident Evil 4.
Yep.
And they just continued those gameplay aspects, and then the cover mechanics as well came from that experimental project. So to include the dodging and all, and the other kind of quick time movements that were put into Resident Evil 4. So you can see, and I don't want to predict like I normally predict, because you can sometimes, if you just pay attention, you'll see what they're trying to show you. But Astral Chain has a lot of experimental stuff in it. And if you're talking about, we never got a chance to see what Jan was doing, Jan, want to call her, or what have you. We've never gotten the full, hey, you're playing with both of these characters at the same time kind of. We've never gotten that, and I think that's going to be coming. So, I think we kind of saw how it's going to play out.
I mean, it's one of those situations where, and I know what they were doing. They mimicked what they did for Bayonetta 2 in 2012, when they showed that first 40-second teaser. But the next year, they actually had a full trailer at E3. And then 2014, they did the full direct, full 30-minute direct, and then the game came out. Once again, I still believe this, that if we don't have a pandemic, Bayonetta 3 comes out last year.
Right.
Yeah.
It would have came out.
I definitely think so. And No More Heroes also.
Yeah, it would have either been the holiday. No More Heroes or Bayonetta. One of them would have been the holiday. The other one would have been the summer. One of them. That's why Nintendo went on and put out the ports for 1 and 2, because I'm pretty sure that game was supposed to came out. Because if you don't know, Age of Calamity was not supposed to come out last year. It was supposed to come out this year for the 35th anniversary, leading into Breath of the Wild 2. But they had to swap it because it was already done. Yeah, it was already done, and Bowser's Fury, which was supposed to came out with last year, was not finished yet. They were having some issues with it, so they just flopped them. They switched them, basically. Essentially,
that's what happened. Works for me.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Godzilla finna get mad at y'all. But yeah, that's what happened. So once again, I know people like to say the pandemic is not an excuse. It's not an excuse. It's a fact.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a fact of what happened, and the entire globe had to deal with it. So we're now getting to somewhat of a state. I ain't gonna say stable, but a workable, work days for people.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna start seeing stuff come out. But yeah, this stuff got pushed back because of that. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is, hey man, Japan, why y'all hate America? I mean,
I can list off some reasons.
What did North America ever do to you, gaming wise?
I was like, I can list off some reasons.
What did they ever do to you? So Monster Hunter Rise is getting a bundle in Japan. The only thing I want is the Pro Controller. That Pro Controller is nice. That's the only thing I want. I don't care about the Switch dock and the Joy-Cons. I don't care about all that. I just want the Pro Controller. But it's it's supposed to be for Japan. Then there's an update. It's coming to Europe. So y'all want me to go to play Asia? Y'all want me to go to play Asia? So you're basically telling me to go to play Asia.
Now, the only excuse I'll give Capcom, has Monster Hunter outside of World ever taken off here in America?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Monster Hunter Try, and I think that was only because that was Wii.
Yeah, that was
exactly.
Yeah.
That would be my only thing, because I wouldn't go that heavy in a market that has not shown me love for real.
Yeah.
Like Europe and Japan shows love for Monster Hunter.
Switch is literally printing money. Like
it is.
Every
market. And that brings me to another question. Why can't they just sell the docks? Like, if y'all gonna make the dock for it, why don't y'all just sell a couple of docks? That's some extra money, ain't it?
I'm gonna say because Nintendo is not really selling docks anymore at all. Like they're only
they
selling the ones
back.
that's on the shelves right now.
Yeah, they started back. But my thing is, okay, look, if y'all gonna make it, y'all make some Pro Controllers, make some docks, man. Come on, man.
Yeah, Pro Controller they definitely sell.
That Pro Controller's gonna sell, but the thing is, I'm like, okay, even if you don't want to sell the whole thing, the Pro Controller at least.
I tell you this, based off of what we talked about last weekend, I guarantee you, Power A will take care of it for me.
Oh yeah, Power A always has my back. Power A always has my back. I will give them that.
Can they stop using the proprietary connector that goes inside of the? Can they stop? Because my dog chewed up one of the cables, and now I got to buy a whole another Power A controller just so I have that little dongle. Yeah, that would be nice.
I buy wireless, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Just USB-C. Make it USB-C. Just do that.
Yeah, they can do that. But yeah, that's I just, it's one of those situations, because when you see it, and I ain't even gonna lie, that dock and the Joy-Cons do look good. They look great when you see them. But that Pro Controller is just nasty.
The box looks good. The whole design, all of it looks good.
So I'm sitting up here like, I ain't trying to get another Switch, but I will get that Pro Controller. But y'all don't want to give me a way to buy it for real. Like, I was gonna pre-order it, but so you telling me I gotta go to Play Asia? I've been trying to stop going to Play Asia. That's my addiction. I've been trying to stop.
I know I'd be in trouble. I already own 4 in the house. I don't need any more. I would be divorced pretty quick if I could.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I'm gonna try to get that one. If they do a Metroid one, I'm getting that one. I don't know why they didn't do a Breath of the Wild one, but like I said, Poway had my back, so I got him. So I'm gonna get my favorite series. I will get that Monster Hunter though. If you have not seen the Monster Hunter Pro Controller.
It's
you can do a Google search. That thing looks nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I still prefer the Xenoblade one, but that's a beautiful controller.
Yeah,
and that's only because I'm a Xenoblade fan.
Yeah, but that's why, man. Come on, man. Work with your boy. Come on, please, please.
Not happening, man. How many got you?
I mean, maybe if you help inflate their stock, then they'll have enough capital to create some for the U.S. market, maybe. And just the Pro Controller, just for you. I don't know.
All right, Reddit, get on it. And people, I was going to bring that up, but I can't right now because that's like a whole 3-hour conversation. I just think it's funny that certain people in Congress did a certain act at the beginning of the pandemic, and now they're condemning this. And I'm like, what y'all did where it was actual insider trading, that by definition, and because y'all are U.S. congressmen and congresswomen, y'all didn't get in trouble, but you're mad about this.
Hey.
And the SEC didn't investigate them; they got to investigate each other. But that's a whole nother.
That's a whole nother. That's a whole
thing
nother,
we can get into.
that's a whole nother 3 hours, and I don't want to do that to nobody. So, we're gonna try to keep it light here, as y'all know. I like to keep things light and in a good way. So, I think today I just want to end this podcast by saying one very important thing, and I want y'all to remember this, man. If you don't take anything that I say, I want y'all to take this one thing that I say and just believe it, and just make it, just let it marinate in your head. Godzilla's gonna beat the hell out of King Kong.
I'm curious. I can't wait to see that. I'm actually excited.
Yeah, and another thing is, I'm not mad that they're bringing this to freaking HBO Max because, bruh, I'm not going to the theater.
No.
For this, but I am gonna sit at home with a pizza and a bottle of rum, and I'm going in.
Man, the industry is. We had this discussion before. They're gonna have to. The movie theater is gonna have to be a full, a la carte luxury experience going forward. If you want the foot traffic that you want, and it's gonna have to be spaced out. You can't do.
At this point, everybody is at 10 to 20% capacity and getting lower if the numbers keep shooting up. So you're not gonna make no money. Don't let anybody on YouTube or whatever tell you that, oh, these movies not doing well because they're woke. No, they're not doing well because they don't have traffic.
Right.
The ones that are open, they're only at 10% capacity. You're not gonna make money if you're just selling in. You're just gonna have it in the theaters. You have to put it on demand. You have to put it on your streaming service, and you have to put it in the theaters. That's the only way you're gonna have a prayer at getting some of your money back. Ask Tenet. Ask Christopher Nolan.
Now. This is one thing I'm surprised it did not take off, because I was having this conversation with my mom. They shut down the theaters. Of course, they're moving everything to digital as well. Why didn't drive-ins blow up?
Yes.
In Atlanta, they did, though.
Demand for Atlanta did go up.
Yeah. Okay.
People were actually driving to the hood to go to Starlight Drive-In, and I'm like, you trying to get shot?
Because I'm about to say, I know from where I'm from in Daleville, that is not a spot you want to be in, but nevertheless, you'll go to do it. But yeah, I mean, I was like, drive-ins should be cleaning up right now, because you typically get 2 movies for the price of 1 when you go.
Yep.
Turn on that radio station. Now they'll hit you upside the head with them snacks, but but the movie is 2 for 1.
Yep.
Because I know my brother said that because he took the kids to go see something. They were showing something at one of the drive-ins in the A, and he was like, yeah, it was packed out there. So I think drive-ins are, but the problem is there ain't that many of them.
Right.
No, there's only like 3, I think, in North Georgia. Yeah. 3 in particular. So
because they went out of style, everything went to theater, went inside. So now that inside and nobody can. Now Regal and AMC, now they shuffling. But I'm like, y'all should have just went back to outside.
Yeah.
They should have went back in style at some point, because not even in luxury cars now, in regular cars now, you getting 7-point sound systems inside of your Camry now. So you can go to.
Didn't Chrysler have like a deal with Beats?
They were in the car. In your car, like a theater system in your car.
And that's not even the luxury. That's just in some of the cars it's just standard.
Yep. And all radio is digital now. So you're getting discrete audio. So it's like I don't even know what to tell you anymore.
They dropped the ball on that one.
They should have been advertising it and pimping it, and then they could have taken, that would have forced AMC to be like, well, maybe we should start funding these drive-ins instead of letting them be, their own standalone little things. Because at one point in time, the big movie theaters were funding them, and now, they should have moved to that real quick. They should have broke the pandemic too.
And now they broke. So, but yeah, just remember that yes, I did scream "Sure you can" when Godzilla uppercutted King Kong, and yes, I did. And yes, I did say "damn" when King Kong punched the hell out of Godzilla. So, I will but I'm actually looking forward to that movie. That movie looked it, and I know people are gonna get mad. People got mad at me and Mr. T when we reviewed King of the Monsters because we like the kaiju fights. It's called Godzilla. It's not called scientists. I don't give a damn about the humans are fodder in the freaking movies.
Like in King of the Monsters, when I saw that, I was like, so is it a King Kong movie, or is it actually transcended from the old Neo Geo game? I didn't know what they were trying to, because I'm like hoping secretly, like maybe it's based on the game. And
No, they had to do with Ghidra. But I will say this: Tywin Lannister has to die in this movie, because them Lannisters, well, he was gonna find a way to take Westeros one way or another. like, why is he playing Tywin Lannister in a Godzilla movie? But I'm here for it. So hey, red wedding somebody, and we all good. I'm sorry, people. I know I'm mishmashing stuff together. I apologize for that. But yeah, I'm actually looking forward to that movie. That's what, March? Yeah.
Yeah. March,
right,
and that's HBO Max, right?
HBO Max, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, also remember, in March, we're also getting the 4-hour epic, The Sweeping Tale of Love, Hate. And I can't even think of the rest of this joke. But we're getting the 4-hour Zack Snyder cut.
Snyder cut. Since it's 4 hours, my problem is.
Your problem is it's a 4-hour Zack Snyder movie.
Yeah. Yes, it's 4 hours.
This ain't Peter Jackson.
So, what's on the cutting room floor then? Because if it's 4 hours long, I'm hoping there's not a whole bunch of stuff that should have been cut that ends up being in there. Because otherwise, you get like awkward silences after a person delivers their lines and stuff like that that don't really fill in the character at all.
I will say this: I did read an article where there was a lot of stuff that Whedon did cut out that was supposed to have been used. So I think what they went and did was put his stuff back in, and then he trimmed it down from that.
Okay.
So I think that's what he did. So because I don't think there was that many actual reshoots that they did. So look,
they could just start over and make it a trilogy. Like I don't.
Look, I know I dog Zack Snyder because I have to. Because look, he's a great visionary director. He just can't direct everything else. I love his action scenes. I'm not gonna lie, but his stories be stupid. Sucker punch anybody.
That's a Peter Jackson thing, also. I think.
But Peter Jackson has way better writers.
Yeah,
true.
And I can sit through Return of the King Extended Edition. I can't sit through Watchmen like that.
Yeah,
It's just I just can't. So I will say this: me and Mr. T, we did say we are going to review the Snyder Cut. We thought it was going to be the 4-hour series, but then they said he changed his mind and they decided to do a 4-hour movie. So take some breaks, but yeah,
popcorn, sit right next to the bathroom,
a lot of rum, a lot of rum. Yeah. So yeah, we will be doing that. Anything you want to pimp out, Shadow?
My channel's not dead, so stay tuned. Yeah, I had a lot of stuff I planned to. I had like 3 videos I wanted to push out a couple of weeks ago, and life gets in the way because your family's more important to you. So, I will be releasing some stuff pretty soon. And eventually I'll get this Shadowcast thing together so I can have you guys on, but I have to do some experimentation with Skype so we can go from there. No, daddy's at large, man. That's what we do. I do the same thing. You'll see a dog and my wife and whatever.
I say, see them two come in here, daddy, we want to eat again. I'm like, we just ate, but all right.
All right. So, Jack, anything you want to add before we get out of here?
The only thing I would give like some games I've been playing that I think people should pick up. On the Oculus, pick up Moss. I held off on it because it's a $30 VR game, but when I just saw so many reviews and I just decided to pick it up, that game is nuts. It's Moss. It's pretty much just you kind of being a giant trying to navigate this mouse through these little different puzzles and different adventures trying to find her grandfather. And then also Monster Hunter Rise coming up in March.
Yes.
Hey, be prepared. I want to play with a whole bunch of people online. I'm not an online person by any measures. I don't do it. My first experience with online ever was Madden, and it was the clunkiest mess I've ever played. And I was like, I never touch online again. But then Splatoon brought me back, so I'm like, all right, cool. We'll get back on it.
Try Halo with friends first.
But yeah, I about to say I got to, because my friends, they're no longer that because they kept going the PlayStation route just because everybody told them to go PlayStation. So now I gotta find me an Xbox crew.
Yeah, we're here.
All right, cool.
We'll play.
All right,
we can play Gears or something. I don't know. We can.
Okay, I'm about to say I'll be on the low end of the totem pole, but I'll play.
Yeah, and on to the Monster Hunter Rise. Mizusune, your ass is mine.
You gonna have another monster that's gonna take his spot, because right now it's just because of the demo, but I guarantee you there's gonna be another monster that you gonna
it's gonna be like 7 of them. I mean, Shadow, you know about me and my love for Devil Joe.
Oh yeah, of course. But
he was in the. Devil Joe used to come kill me and me only. He'll leave the rest of y'all alive.
The pain, the pure pain. Did you guys figure out the infinite hover? With the.
No, I haven't figured it out.
I haven't even tried it.
So I found out how to do some of it accidentally in combat. I hit 2 buttons at the same time, and while I was supposed to be in a idle finishing the rest of the animation, it let me hook shot to the enemy while I was doing that, and I was like, if they don't fix this in the demo, this is going to be fun. And so I literally don't touch the ground when I fight the whatever that thing is you're supposed to chase and it runs away. But he never got away once I figured out how to do it, because I literally is just hooking onto his back and floating with a strike every single time. But you've seen what other people have been doing in the demo, so you can do that in combat too. I just did it accidentally and figured out, well, if it ain't broke.
Which means it will be patched out. And by the way, somebody did ask in the comments, I think last week, Rathalos is in the demo. We ran into him a couple times, and yes, he will chase you. Yes, but you can outrun him, because for some reason we were going to fight Mizusune, and he just plopped down right in front of the doggone shrine, like, bruh, you gonna leave? He just brought and look at me, and I'm looking at him. I'm like, okay,
he just
I'm gonna stay right here.
Yeah, that's all he doing.
I went right by that shrine and I didn't see. I guess it wasn't my time. I guess.
Yeah, it was like what, 3 or 4 times he just plopped right in front of us.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, yeah, the devil is alive. I'm gonna go this way. So, but yeah, that's gonna be it for this episode of the Wingin Podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, thank you for liking, subscribing, sharing, all the other good stuff, and commenting. We really appreciate the support. And just remember, Godzilla over Kong, even though they probably will team up at the end of the movie and fight Mechagodzilla and Tywin Lannister. So, just to let y'all know. So, peace, love, and soul, people.
We out.